I still remember when the fourth Die Hard film came out, Live Free or Die Hard. I think it was with Justin Long as well as Bruce Willis. And the thing that was fascinating about that particular film is it sort of talked about what you're discussing right now. It looked at this idea of a coordinated kind of infrastructure attack using nothing more than basically a couple of laptops to get in and try to figure out. And what they were able to do was essentially shut down Washington, D.C. Again, this is a movie, but I'm saying this because at the time, I remember having conversations with some people, and they kind of looked at it as, well, I mean, that's a bit much, right? You couldn't really do all of that. And even just with my kind of small background knowledge on this compared to you, I remember thinking, oh no, no, I could see that. I could see someone being able to actually do that. I'm not saying it would be easy, but I could see someone being able to do that. Could you envision something like a coordinated attack like that on multiple kind of points of interest to the infrastructure?
Yeah, I think I think in order, yes, I can, and I think in order to like kind of just see this, the thing to consider is where things are made. So, um, if you manufacture something, there's nothing that prevents you from inserting code or hardware into that device that you can control remotely at some time. So these, or power grid, for example, has a lot of little processors in it, little chips. And a lot of those chips are built in the US. And at the heart of one of these chips is a programmable logic controller. What it is a programmable switch. It's like a switch with a computer. So you can say on, off. And then, these power like levers and actuators, things like open valves, things that open and close. Um, and so this is what happened with Stuxnet, right? So they got into the PLC system. Somebody had a malicious USB, they plugged it into the system, and they spun up the centrifuges in Iran and blew up the centrifuges that were used to enrich uranium. So you can imagine uh, somebody who works in one of these plants, a power grid plant, you know, getting paid $1 million to upload some software. They upload it, it's benign, nobody knows, it's just sitting there. Or if you manufacture these systems, you um, compromise the person who's building it, you put some software there, then every power plant around the world has these. So these supply chain attacks would be very useful. And even if you just bubble up from one layer, if people can do it, if there's somebody who can press a button to say turn off the power grid or disable a nuclear power plant, then that person is compromisable, and so you can, with sufficient cash or other means, convince them to do something kind of malicious. The part that I think we need to kind of consider as a society when we think um, about these kind of attacks on our infrastructure is how resilient are we? You know, how long can we go without um, power and so on? And I think the preppers, have gone down that path where they're like, yes, we need to prepare for this apocalypse. Um, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think that we can recover pretty easily unless it's some destructive attack. The harder part for me is I'm worried about something that's beyond the infrastructure, which is that as a civilization, civilizations of the past have created physical artifacts like pots, pans, um, paintings. But all of our artifacts for our civilization have been digital. So we've had all these digital artifacts like um, digital art, podcasts, digital media, and that's kind of or kind of stamp on the world for this time. And the hard part with all of those artifacts is that they're ethereal, so they'll disappear with time. And it's possible to kind of wipe out an entire culture by deleting this content. And a lot of this content is stored in data centers, throughout the US and throughout the world. And so you can imagine wiperware that would wipe all our Facebook pictures, all the pictures that we have backed up to the iCloud, all of our podcasts, all of our music. And that really wipes our cultural identity. And that pain isn't a like physical one, it's more of an emotional one. So we could take away infrastructure and so on, but I think the emotional pain of losing the artifacts that we've created as a civilization could be detrimental. Losing pictures of your children as they're growing up, losing videos of them, and we don't have those things printed out. We don't have them hanging up on our walls at home. And so in order to remove that kind of cultural identity, we don't need a kind of physical attack anymore. We can do this kind of cyber attack targeted at cultural artifacts. And so that's very sad.